Don't Salvage the Bridge, a novella by Anthony Wright. Dedication. To my mother and grandmother, in homage to the great Zora Neale Hurston. 1. Mama tells me I shouldn't love a two-count like Bob. I shouldn't trust him. Men lie, cheat, and kill. She said she would rather see me on my cooling board. And giving my blessing to him, she said, I love him. I love him, Mama. You hush, she retorted, her eyes as big as walnuts. I sat in the chair, and the flesh of my being seemed to disintegrate with the ache of my heart. I was sorry I couldn't prove Bob's love to Mama, but I was also sorry for her broken heart. Broken because of Papa and Miss Sarah Jane. I almost flew into a fit thinking of Papa and that harlot Sarah Jane. My skin broiled at the thought. Bob, she laughed. You ought not laugh, Mama. I love him, and he loves me. Child. You don't know what love is, and I know Bob don't. Now you stop talking out your head. At that moment, I felt my ability to love was belittled. It was like she was making me feel incompetent. Mama, I knows what it is. I knows I loves you, I exclaimed. I was alive again, my heart pounding my declaration. That's different, she said, now staring me in my eyes as she continued to hang clothes on the line. I looked at the sky, waiting for her next words, hoping to persuade her from my love for Bob and his love for me. The ball of fire that hung high in the sky blazed its honey rays against my face, its light giving shine to my reddish-brown skin. I breathed slowly, waiting. I was going to show Mama. Love ain't just something you feel, she said, finally. Mama, I whispered, love is everything you feel. She dropped the linen she was holding into an old and worn-out woven basket under her feet. She beckoned me and put her hands in mine. Love ain't just a feeling. It's a spirit that breathes through us. It's the womb of life. It ain't just about how somebody makes you feel. It's about how they give, treat you, stand by you, and lift you up. It ain't temporary. It ain't 'cause they smile and tell you pretty. She looked at me then, and I bowed my head, almost ashamed. My love was nothing but a speck in her eyes. I couldn't prove its full glory if I tried. She lifted my chin so that my eyes could align with hers. I didn't know that until your daddy talked. She paused. Taught me everything love wasn't. Taught me everything love wasn't supposed to be, she whispered. Mama went back to her reality while I lingered on her love. Mama, I whispered again. I had my head bowed, but I could feel her looking at me, piercing almost, reading the depths of my heart. How do you know Bob ain't the one? She sighed heavily. He ain't right in the head. Mama, I shrieked. He wild in the head. I chuckled to myself, and I turned towards her, expecting her face to hold a slight smile. It didn't, and I sighed. He wants to marry me, Mama. She went back to folding her laundry, folding the linen sloppily and thrusting the line when she snatched another piece. When were you gonna tell me? I walked over to her, hoping to ease the situation and make her warm again. I wanted to help with the linen, but Mama stopped me. No, she groaned. Ain't gonna deny him or our love, Mama. Ain't right. The way the sky looked on our wedding day was a horror. Gray swollen clouds controlled the once blue sky while the wind blew fiercely. Bob wanted to get married in the summer, but I wanted spring. I didn't put up a fuss. I just wanted him. It was midsummer, sweltering heat in the Delta. Now Mama believes that was the first sign from God that Bob wasn't the one. I ain't never seen a full-grown man put up a fuss for a wedding day. Your daddy just showed up, she said snobbishly. He ain't Papa, I defended. Ain't right. That boy touched in the head, Gene. I ignored her. One day, Bob was going to prove her wrong. We sat in the closest pew by the window, for I doubted Bob was going to show. The day before, Bob seemed nervous and distracted, his face filled with fear and indecisiveness. The church smelled of lavender and warm pine. I stared out the window. The clouds were still swollen, and the sky still blazing glory. "Where's that son of a bitch?" Mama exclaimed. "Sister Josie!" Reverend West exclaimed in horror. "We're in the house of God," he added, reminding her of what she had just said. I laughed at Mama's blasphemy. The folks on the other pews agreed, crying, "Amen, Lord." I sighed and began to grow enraged, still staring at the sky. "Damn 'em," I murmured. I didn't care if the congregation or God himself condemned me for my words. I took my eyes off the sky and grew even more enraged to not see Bob in the church. The church, Mount Elam, was a giant white structure whose aesthetic began to peel and rot. Around the church stood tall pines whose needles created an ocean as deep as the Atlantic. There was needle-like shrubs and bushes that sparsely covered the church grounds. When it began to rain, there was still no sign of Bob, and the people in the church murmured. "Ain't it a shame?" a woman observed. I turned to her, and she bowed her head. "I'm going to take a shotgun to him," Mama screamed. Some laughed and gasped. "Mama, I'm ready to go on back down the road," I sighed. "Reverend West," she called. "You think you can drive us home?" Mama said, staring angrily at the Reverend. "Show, Sister Josie," he replied. I stood, the aching from sitting set in me, making me grimace. "Can't leave without prayer," Reverend West bellowed. The people stood and turned to his gaze, their heads bowed and eyes closed. I refused to follow them. Instead, I continued to face forward. I hoped God would smite Bob. "Lord, bless these folks as they leave your house and go on home. Lord, I ask you to bless Sisters Josie and Jean, ease their weary hearts. Amen," he bellowed, which was followed by the congregation. We all then left Mount Elam, sullen and soaked by the rain, the pines touching the sky, and the sky a misty color. I smelled the sorrow along with the pines. I felt the rage of the current storm. I heard the cries for help deep inside me. I cried tears along with the rain. The thunder bellowed and it screamed my rage. "I'm going to take a shotgun to that no-count nigga," Mama cried when we got home. I sighed and quickly changed the dress that Bob was supposed to marry me in. I flung it on the ground, its dim color now soaked. It was Mama's dress. She wore it when she married Papa and tried to burn it when he left. I saved it. I couldn't explain how I felt about Bob. I was numb. The past few days, Bob had been acting distant. I knew it from his touch, his words. In those days, I pounded on love. I questioned his love. All I knew was Bob had left me alone. I went to the porch and stared out. I didn't see life, no earth. I didn't see creation. I saw my world, upside down and odd, distorted and cold. A dam broke inside of me. Streaks of its flow found on my face. "I told you," she whispered. I dreaded those words.